Fame is, I believe, you do something, people talk about it, and they continue to talk about you. Sometimes in perpetuity.
They follow you. They're interested in what's continuing to go on in your life. Those type of things, I guess, is what I categorize as fame and popularity.
Well, I think that's great to talk about. Popularity, I think, is more of a ephemeral thing. It's like right now, it probably is going to go away. It ebbs and flows. Fame is, obviously, you got Beyonce, but you also have Abraham Lincoln. So things...
Wow.
But I'm saying, back in his day, fame was a whole different thing, Or if you even go back way before Abraham Lincoln, let's go back to, say, 1600, probably in one village, the guy who could chop wood the best or raise chickens the best, everyone talked about that guy. Like, you got to see Reginald, man. He has some chickens, and he puts out so many eggs. He can feed the entire village.
Was that
Reginald.
name just like waiting back in your brain?
The thing is, I was actually like, will a name come to me? I didn't want to say like...
It definitely came.
I know, but I didn't want to say like Trevor, because they'd be like, there was no Trevors back in 1600. I'm glad I thought of Reginald. Anyhow, let's go back to my reference.
Please.
I was like, if you're in the 1600s, let's say Reginald is like, he's the best farmer in town, are people talking about him? So if everyone in the village of 300 people is talking about him, he is famous. So there are levels of fame, but this guy is famous because where he is for his achievements and the popularity of what happens in that little village, what he's doing is tantamount to fame there, right?
Yes, I worked to follow that story, and I think
I don't want to tell it
I
again.
get it.
I don't want to go. I don't want to tell it again, guys. That was like. Okay.
I think I get it. I think I'm in agreement with that. But the biggest thing I think these days is with the new fame and popularity comes a sort of business, an income that was not an option for so many people before. It just wasn't. So for me, you think about the YouTube stars, the Instagram, I guess, and Facebook, the account.
Social media, yeah.
Social media stars.
I mean, TikTok.
Oh yeah, TikTok.
People are famous in all these different
exactly.
things.
These people.
And not to interrupt you, but MySpace. Remember Tila Tequila?
Oh yeah, because she was on MTV after MySpace.
Yeah, but no, MySpace was her thing. So that she was like one of the first ones just from social media that kind of right.
But you see, I was not a MySpacer at all.
I was, guys. I was killing it.
But I do remember First of all, wow, what a reference again, Justin. You are just.
I mean, we prepared for the podcast.
Give this guy an applause.
Wow, I'm on one right now. So man,
I do remember her, and you're right. She's like almost. Funny enough, yeah, man, she got a lot of flack, but she went from being a MySpacer, like she wasn't anything. She didn't study a craft. She made herself famous. Right.
So now, if you look fast forward to 2021, I think fame is fame. What I mean is, just, if you're famous, you're famous. It doesn't matter if you're a famous basketball player or a famous YouTube star, because famous is famous. If you're doing something for your achievements and people are talking about you, then you're famous. So
I think there's just levels.
Look at like Logan Paul. Like, people seem to dislike him, but he's famous from just YouTube, and then now other things that he's doing, other antics. But he's famous because I think a lot of people think fame is glitter and lights, and you're walking out in the lights, and like Prince. He was always like a super famous guy because he was like looked that part. The way he styled, like that's a famous guy right there. Or you like Tupac or something. Like people aspired to be like
but let's
him,
take it
or
back a step,
wanted that type of bravado.
Yeah.
Because fame can be like, I want that. I want to be like that. I would like some of that within me. That is the fame that we think what famous is. But there's different levels of fame.
But I'm saying I'm walking that line with you, and I going down that Prince line. He looked the part, and I think that's still important. That's still part of what social media is. That's still part of what these new famous people are. They look the part. People want their life. People want to follow their life. People see them in whatever, even if it's not designer, like they aspire to be styled like them. They like the way they dress. I'm not necessarily speaking monetary, like it doesn't have to be all Gucci, but these people, they're famous for their style, their fashion, their beauty, whatever it is that other people follow along and want to be like or a part of. So I think that's still super important in this realm is people, if no one wants to watch you or aspire to be like you or appreciate the things you're doing, then you're not going to be famous.
Well, I think you're talking about famous and influential, which they call us influencers. I don't think we're influencers, not because I don't think we influence people. I just think we're entertainers. Just like I think the biggest stars in the world, they're entertainers. They can also be influencers if they influence, just like you said, if they're influencing your fashion choices, if they're influencing your political views, if they're influencing how you think, then they're famous, but they're also influencers because they're influential to your thinking. And I can think of my own life, like when I got into comedy, I was really into this guy named Bill Hicks, and Bill Hicks died in 1993, like years before I got into comedy. He was like this cult icon who got bigger and bigger and bigger posthumously after he died. But he became very influential to me because when I started doing comedy, I wanted to sound like him. And then, Daniel Tosh, I wanted to sound like him. Because when you get into comedy, a lot of times you're insecure, and the way you think you can be secure is sound like somebody who's funnier. At some point you realize there's already a guy named Daniel Tosh being Daniel Tosh. He's always way funnier than you. So at some point you have to be yourself. So the most famous people that have their own voice are the same people who are influencing us, the strong personalities of the world.